Hello, Air Pollution Control Design class. Let's clear the air on Port Arthur Refinery's emissions, impacts, and controls. This video is presented to you by the PANS crew. Atmospheric pollutants, either of chemical, physical, or biological origin, are a serious environmental issue. According to the World Health Organization, there are over 7 million deaths globally due to air pollution. Industrial emissions contribute to over 50% of the menace, and of this 50%, 18% comes from refineries. Port Arthur is located in Jefferson County, Texas, and is just 90 miles east of Houston, Texas. The estimated population of Port Arthur in 2018 was 54,280 people, and the median household income in 2018 was $34,987. For comparison, the median household income for the United States in 2018 was $61,937. Port Arthur resides along Sabine Lake that connects directly to the Gulf of Mexico. The Keystone Gulf Coast Pipeline runs through Port Arthur and supplies many refineries with crude oil from Canada, where the crude oil previously came from Venezuela. Crude oil refineries produce more than just the gasoline that many people think of. Many types of products and oils are produced through the refining of crude oil. Follow along and I will introduce to you the products of Port Arthur Refinery. The fuel products produced at the Motiva Refinery in Port Arthur include conventional gasoline, commercial aviation fuel, ultra-low sulfur diesel fuel required for diesel vehicles produced after 2007. This fuel has 97% less sulfur than low sulfur diesel fuel for cleaner burning. As of 2010, all diesel in the U.S. must be ultra-low sulfur. High cetane diesel fuel is similar to octane rating for conventional gasoline, where the high cetane refers to higher performance and quality. Texas low-emission diesel fuel, which has no more than 10% aromatic hydrocarbons by volume and a cetane rating of 48 or greater. This Texas low-emission diesel program was started in 2000 to reduce the emission of NOx from motor vehicles and other diesel-required equipment. Texas attempted to follow the footsteps of California's diesel requirements from 1993, but California also regulates sulfur in diesel, whereas Texas only set a cetane rating. Base oils are used for lubrication and are created during the refining process of crude oil. There are 5 groups of base oils, and these oils are grouped based on their production process. The Motiva Refinery in Port Arthur produces Group 2 and Group 3 base oils. Group 2 base oils can be referred to as mineral conventional base oils, and they are becoming more desirable than Group 1 due to their higher purity rating, lower sulfur, nitrogen, and aromatic content, along with its solubility. These base oils are produced through a process called hydrocracking, which encompasses catalytic reactions under high temperature and pressure. Group 3 base oils are considered synthetic oils and are typically needed for more advanced types of motors. Group 3 base oils are severely hydrocracked, meaning they are more pure than those of Group 2. The specialty products at Port Arthur Refinery include petroleum coke, also known as pet coke. Pet coke can be used as a fuel source when carbon is the source of fuel. Pet coke, like base oils, is produced during the refinery process of crude oil. Liquid petroleum gases are the lightweight vapors from the production of gasoline. Petrochemical feeds are produced at the refinery, along with sulfur, which the refinery also is the leading producer of sulfur in North America, and this sulfur can be shipped as molten elemental sulfur or in pellet form. Some other products produced at Motiva's refinery in Port Arthur include ethylene, polyethylene, and propylene, which are produced during the refining process of the crude oil. Ethylene is a building block for polyethylene, and polyethylene is used to manufacture many household items like shampoo bottles. Polymer-grade propylene is used to manufacture packaging for medical supplies or high-impact plastics typically used in automobiles. Cyclohexane is produced at the refinery using one of Motiva's proprietary catalysts. Cyclohexane is a building block for nylon. The major processes involved in Port Arthur Refinery include separation, conversion, treating, blending, and other auxiliary processes. Emission of air pollutants can occur at any stage during the reaction or due to leaks in boilers, heaters, waste treatment, recovery units, flaring devices, product tanks, distillation towers, catalytic cracking units, or pipe connections. Since Jefferson County is considered a non-attainment area designated by the EPA, meaning this area does not meet the primary or secondary standards set by the National Ambient Air Quality Standards, the EPA requires state and federal implementation plans to reach attainment standards. Motiva's Port Arthur Refinery released their potential to emit pollutant levels in 2019. After the refinery failed to meet the standards for NOx, SO2, VOCs, and particulate matter, it is to be noted that the only pollutant that shows on the table to not require federal review is H2SO4, and this is because there is no standard that exists for H2SO4. Motiva's Port Arthur refinery is a top 10 emitter of benzene, particulate matter, NOx, hydrogen sulfide, and sulfur dioxide in the Beaumont, Texas region. Benzene is a notable pollutant that is emitted from Motiva's Port Arthur refinery. It is one of 187 hazardous pollutants established by the National Emission Standards for Hazardous Air Pollutants. This is known or suspected to cause cancer or other serious health effects. The reference dose of 0.03 micrograms per cubic meter was established by the EPA to indicate this is the greatest level where no adverse effects are known. The total benzene emission for the refinery indicates this pollutant is being emitted at a greater concentration than the reference dose. Because of these emissions, Motiva's Port Arthur refinery is ranked in the top 10% of the country's worst facilities according to the EPA's toxic release entry. So what are the impacts of these emissions? The health impacts of the pollutants from Motiva's Port Arthur refinery include asthma, cancer, genetic effects, skin irritation, hair pigmentation, anemia, COPD, premature death, and cardiac problems. Data from the Texas Registry shows that cancer rates among African Americans in Jefferson County is 15% higher than the average Texan, and the mortality rate is greater than 40% of the average Texan. A study performed by University of Texas Medical Branch at Galveston found that residents of Port Arthur are 4 times more likely to suffer from issues with heart, respiratory, nervous system, skin, ear, nose, and throat than individuals who live 100 miles north of Port Arthur. Risk screening environmental indicator models were run to show the impact Motiva refinery has on Port Arthur. The top figure shows how the Motiva refinery has a higher posed risk on health than any other industry in Texas and in the United States. The bottom figure shows how Motiva health risks compare to those of other refineries nationwide and in Texas. Motiva has implemented strategies to control and remove the toxic emissions in all its refineries. They include a vapor processing system and continuous monitoring systems to check leaks, stack tests to identify the source. This is in addition to pollution control devices such as absorption towers, scrubbers, incinerators, and more. The refinery also documents the disposal of gasoline and nitrogen pressure decay tests. Despite these control measures, the emissions are still high. There have been periodic complaints by residents about illegal emissions and the health effects they encounter because of these emissions. The refinery itself has been shut down quite a few times due to leaks. As environmental engineers, what do you think should be done about emissions of air pollutants? Does Port Arthur need its own Department of Environmental Compliance, as the city's former councilman John Beard suggests? What do you recommend as the remedy? Are you here to watch or make a change? We leave it up to you to decide.